Hello, everybody. It is your Uncle Fish back again for School of Fish Art Stream. J-Man wants Gatling gun on the end of his tail. Oh my goodness. J-Man says the tail's where you put all the heavy artillery. Yeah. Said he used to have a howitzer on the end of his tail. Hello, everybody. Welcome back after a fair little hiatus there after the end of the year. Welcome back to School of Fish with your ever-loving Uncle Fish, fastest working man in indie comics. I'm glad to be back. I have got a bunch of new ideas for what we're going to do with the School of Fish art stream going forward this year. I have been really blessed to get to spend some time. What is up, Kyron? Man, good to see you. Glad you could be here. At least for however long we have you, we'll be glad to have you. Um, I've been really blessed this year to get to hang out with a bunch of awesome creators that have really been helping each other out and lifting each other up. And it really reminded me of how much I have gained from other people that gave me a chance, how much I've learned from people that have shared stuff with me, and how much I want to be that for other people and to help uplift and get other people to where they want to be. I really want to encourage other people to make their dreams come true the way I'm getting to make my dreams come true. Like, I literally just shipped out uh, books 8, 9, and 10 that I have put out myself. I got Call the Cro-Magnon issue 2. We got T-Man and Hyperstrike remastered, and the first volume of Fish Tales, a new anthology that I'm doing. And Fish Tales is actually going to become a vital part of School of Fish going forward because we're going to be really honing in on really studying and learning how to make comics. We're going to be delving into the writing and script layouts and stuff. We're going to be diving into page layout, penciling, inking, coloring, the whole 9 yards. How to format the book when you're done to ship it off to a printer. We're going to be covering everything from like printing your own ashcan comics at home to printing, your own full color comics at home if you want to do something like that, to how to how to send files to the big printers and stuff and send it right so that you know you're going to get the right thing back at the end. Um, this just so happens to be a color copy of Call the Cro-Magnon that I printed up today on my printer, and it came out beautiful and glossy, and it feels great. Everything is trimmed neatly, and it came out great. I want to teach you how to do this. I want to teach you how to do it all. And I'm going to be adding a whole lot of extra benefits into the Patreon for School of Fish. I'm going to start uploading my custom brushes that I make. I'm going to upload some of the custom faces of buildings and stuff I use to make backgrounds really quickly. I'm going to upload more page templates. Like, there's already a Kablam page template on there for doing these size regular comic book pages for Kablam. I'm going to get the manga one up there, the magazine size one up there, the double page spread one up there. So whatever you want to make, it'll be already at the right sizes. The trims and everything will be figured into it. And I'm going to be uploading videos on how to use those. I already made some videos on it, but they came out a little iffy on the quality. So I'm going to redo those videos and make it a little bit clearer. But that's going to be my focus going forward. I changed the names on the tiers for some of y'all that are already subscribers. What used to be the School of Fish tier for $3 is now just the supporter tier, and you still get to hang out like Katie and Sarah and Kyron and everybody. You still get to hang out at that rate and watch the show and everything. But there's now going to be a $25 tier for the School of Fish tier for those people that are really serious about wanting to learn how to make comics. And in that, you not only get whichever Mr. Fish comic is coming out that month, shipped straight to your door for that price. But we're also going to have like a once a month group class where we can get together, talk back and forth, ask your questions directly. I can walk you through things, hold your hand, and show you how stuff's done step by step. We can do critiques over your work, and we're going to really work on some short stories together. That's a big deal to me, that we start working on some short stories and can hold each other accountable on that to try and get stuff done. We're going to work on the scripts. We're going to work on the pencils. We're going to do the lettering and the inking and everything. And when it's done, if you want to submit it to be in the next issue of Fish Tales, you can absolutely do that. And if it's accepted, if the quality's good, the story's good, it's going to end up in the next book of Fish Tales. Not only will you get a copy of Fish Tales like you would normally every issue that I send out at that rate, not only are you going to get a copy with your awesome story that you did in it, but you will also get access to be able to print up as many copies as you want at cost from Kablam. You can order straight from them. You can order 10 copies to give out to family and friends. You can order 20 copies to take to your local show and try and sell. You can order 1,000 copies and sell them online, sell them at cons, go door to door if you want to. Whatever you want to do with it, you will have that access to the books that you work on. If your work appears in a book of Fish Tales, you'll have access to print copies of it and sell them to your heart's content. There's no fees, there's no royalties, there's nothing you got to worry about from my end on that. Just get the books printed and shipped to your house and you're good to go. I don't get a kickback. I just want to help people get their stuff published. I want to help people hone their craft and make it better than it would have been, if you didn't have help. Like, I would have given anything for somebody who really knew what he was talking about, had been around the block a time or two, that could have helped walk me through some of this stuff in the beginning. I wouldn't have made some of the mistakes that I had to go back and fix in Two-Man Hyperstrike Remastered, because I wouldn't have made those mistakes in the first place if I'd had somebody giving me a hand. And I want to try and be that hand to other people now. And I remember how much it meant to me the first time I got to see my stuff in print. And that just really gave me the motivation that, you know what, I can do this. And, a year and a half later, it was my full-time job. So I want to try and be that for other people. So I'm making that option available. I mean, it is a little bit higher price than just like getting the comic book subscription normally, but I want people that are invested in it. If I'm going to invest my time in them to give critiques and give advice, I want them to be invested as well and actually like have motivation to get the stories done and stuff, because it's real easy to want to do it. It's a whole other category to actually get it done. We all know that. We've all been there. I had a million ideas that got started before any of them ever got finished and got on the page. And it took a lot of learning and growing and learning how to make my little squirrel brain focus to get stuff done. And any of that I can help pass along to somebody else, I'm all about. Absolutely nice dad jokes. Thanks, Sarah. Glad you like the sound of that, PJ. I'm excited about it. I mean, maybe one person takes me up on it, but hey, that it will be one more person that I get to invest in and get to help hone their craft. And that's awesome. And I'm excited about that. And also, I'm really excited to see what new kind of crazy stuff could come out in Fish Tales like this, because I've done these classes before. These classes are also going to be available to all ages. So, if you're 12 or you're 83 and you want to make a comic and you really want to learn how to do this, I want to help you do it and make the best book that you can possibly make. If you put it in Fish Tales or not, I want to help you make the best book you can possibly make. So it will be available to everybody of all different skill levels and stuff, just an FYI. So we're going to try and keep it clean, not get too nasty in the classes and in the comment sections. Looking at you, Kyron. But anyway, so that's going to be my big motivation going forward in 2024. I really want to invest in the community and give back. And another thing that I'm going to be doing, I got some special edition comic books printed up with this awesome 80s homage wraparound cover that y'all saw us working on the art stream. I decided to use this for a special giveaway book. And not only is this the Mighty Ka, it's got all of the variant covers. It's got issue one, it's got all of the second variant covers, issue two. This is issue one and two packed in one massive issue, all the variant covers, the letters page, everything, all of it with the awesome 80s wraparound cover. This is going to be a special giveaway for people that come up with the best ideas for advertising the School of Fish tier on my Patreon. You make a cool, funny TikTok video, an awesome Facebook post, a cool meme, whatever you come up with that's a really cool idea that's going to get the word out about the School of Fish tier on my Patreon, Mr. Fish Comics. I'm going to be giving one of these out per month. There's a limited edition print of them. There's only so many of them, but I'm going to pick a winner each month. And I've got a lot of other books and stuff, like, 78 I've worked on in the last 5 years. So there's lots of cool stuff I can give out too. If we happen to get a whole lot of really cool ideas one month or a whole lot of really cool submissions, then we're going to do that. The only thing I ask is when you make a video or a post or anything, tag me in it and use the hashtag Mr. Fish Comics, MR Fish Comics. And that way I'll be able to find all the submissions by looking for hashtag Mr. Fish Comics, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or, X or wherever. It'll make it easy for me to find that way so I don't lose any of the submissions. So anyway, that's available starting today. I'm going to send one out at the end of February to somebody that comes up with the best idea for pitching the Mr. Fish Comics School of Fish tier on the Patreon. You don't have to be a subscriber of the Patreon to win the prize. It's available to absolutely anybody that comes up with a clever idea. I am absolutely stealing it from my Patreon member, Rod, the irrepressible Papa Bear, because he used this gimmick for his Colonel Jefferson Kickstarter, which absolutely had me back in the Mr. Fish, the Macho Fish wrestling gear. And then my buddy TS started making comeback videos, and then I had to make comeback videos. It was a whole fun thing. We had a freaking blast. And all we're doing is pitching a buddy's comic book. And I was like, that's a brilliant idea. I'm going to learn from this cat and I'm going to do it myself. So this is available. I may come up with some other awesome, cool prizes. Like I've just been looking at, I just sent out, I'm only going to tell y'all that are watching right now. I just sent out a bunch of custom posters as special gifts for my Patreon backers this month, just as a thank you. It's a new year, just as a thank you for all their support and everything. So all the physical backers got an extra poster printed on my new printer. I'm looking into printing my own stickers and stuff and die cutting them and getting this stuff all figured out just for the fun of it. How cool would it be to make like some custom one-off stickers that are just for like the Patreon backers and stuff? I'm thinking, particularly about the T-shirt idea that we were working on in December with Kaw and the faces of everybody around it. I still need to get pictures of people so that I can put your faces around it with the Masters of the Universe theme. How cool would it be to do like a sticker pack that has each one of their heads, like Roscoe as Orko, and I don't remember who I put where. I put Rod as Beastman. Anyway, like how cool would it be to have everybody split up, have little stickers of your head? I think that would be really cool. And that would be something fun and easy to do in a small batch just for my backers. So anyway, we're going to be doing some cool stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. What would you guys like to see this year? What kind of things would you like to see from the School of Fish art stream? Is there something that you've been missing out on? Is there something you want to see a deeper dive into? Let me know. I'm all about it. I would also like to open it up to having on other creators from time to time while we work on a project or something and really get to talk back and forth and answer some questions, because like when you've got somebody like Kyron on the show, or like when my son Bear was on the show, it really gives a chance to dive into, oh, you need to know how to do that? Oh man, I can show you right now. And that was so much fun to get to do. So I absolutely want to take some opportunities to do that too. I'm also looking at seeing, like, maybe taking some trips and see if we can't do some away shots and film some bits at like some of the local printers and stuff. Maybe if I can get booked into one of the Florida shows, maybe I can swing by Kablam and hang out with Barry for a bit and film the process there. I think that would be really cool because it's amazing. Um, printing a book like this at home is absolutely doable. It's a little time consuming, it's a little finicky, absolutely doable. But man, the books that you get from Kablam, I mean, they look very nice. Hold on, I've got the same book right here. I got the same book right here. They look nice. They're both shiny covers, like they feel nice, but honestly, like holding them in your hand, it's kind of like comparing apples to orangutans. I mean, they're both nice comic books, but they feel different. Man, Kablam just really has it nailed down because they've got the industrial printers and stuff, and they've been doing this for a long time, and they know what they're doing. I mean, I know what I'm doing, but I don't have this industrial machinery and stuff to do it. I'm doing it on home equipment, and I'm getting nice quality results, but it's not quite the same. And so, everybody's got a different point. Everybody's willing. Some people are willing to put a lot more work into it to save a couple of bucks. Um, I'm willing to do that on small scale. Like I'm really thinking for Caw 3, I really am considering for the Patreon backers doing a small print run here myself just to give it a shot, just to see how the handmade, one of a kind, Patreon exclusive version does, and then order a big print run, a little bit later on when I'm going to release it in the wild for, TikTok shop and Kickstarter and all that stuff. But, to be able to do some small print runs, for my loyal backers and stuff so that they get stuff first, I think this is a pretty viable option. So I'm interested in trying it. Katie says she likes the technical stuff where you were teaching people. I've learned so much from watching School of Fish. Thank you so much. PJ says, my mind stays in the gutter. The more interesting people to meet there. I would love to see your thought process on how you figure out the composition of an image. Oh, man. All right. I'll see if I can get a few rabid squirrels and, a chicken wire box. We'll just shake the heck out of that thing and we'll film it. And that's basically, how my thought process goes. It's kind of hard to explain how my thought process goes when I'm trying to figure out an image because if your brain doesn't work the way mine does, it's it's almost impossible for you to imagine. Like just like there are people that like when you repeat the alphabet, some of us, some people see letters, some people don't. Some people see bright, colorful letters that are three-dimensional going by like it's a Saturday morning cartoon. Like I'm on that end of the spectrum. So when I imagine a scene, like I'm putting all the characters into the scene like a movie, and I will even occasionally, like from the script, like I know they're going from here to here to here. Like they're pulling in the car, they're getting out, walking across the parking lot, then they're opening the door and going in, and then there's an explosion. Okay, let's say that's what the script says. So I'm playing that through my head I build the scene in my mind first, then I'm playing it through my head like a movie, and then I'm turning the scene in three dimensions in my brain. And like, okay, if we take a shot here where, we see the headlights on the building and we see the doors are open on the car and they're stepping out, and then we show, maybe we turn the scene and we show them much closer to the building and the cars further in the distance, so we know they've traveled that space. And then we do a big panel of an explosion. Like I'm just moving it around and running the tape back and forth and trying to find the coolest shots. And sometimes I'm turning it like all upside down and stuff, looking at it like, oh, okay, this would be really cool. And that's kind of hard to do if your brain doesn't like if you can't imagine things in that realm. Like I've worked on construction projects with guys before where even when I draw out detailed three-dimensional views of like the room that we're going to build, they're like, I still can't see it. We're just going to have to do it. I can't see it. And like, I could never understand how somebody can't like look at an image and understand what it will look like in the room. But people can't do that. Like, for whatever reason, my mom could not make hide in her hair of a comic book page. She would look at it and like she would see the faces and the hands, but and all the words, but she couldn't make sense of where to look first. She couldn't make sense of where one image stopped and the other started, and it was all gobbledygook to her. And I never got it, but now I kind of do. Now that I know more people are like that and can't envision things in three dimensions like that, or two dimensions for that matter. But I would like to, spin an episode and really play around with how to lay stuff out like that, and different ways to try laying it out, and different ways to, you know, rough it out quickly and see what you think about it in the thumbnails, and how to make several variations of it and see which one do you like better. And maybe the body shape of the guy on this one, maybe his reaction with his body's better in this one, but this angle's better. So how are we going to do that? That kind of thing. That would be a really cool show. Thank you for that, Kyra. Anyway, today I thought we would probably just hop in on some inking of Caw 3 because I am deep on Caw 3. It is already penciled, is already lettered. It has already been through the first round of edits, and all of those edits have been fixed. So now it's just a matter of inking it and getting those sent off to Shane so she can flat them for me, and then coloring it. And this one will be going out. This one will be going out in March because this month, well, January, sorry, January's book was Fishtails, which shipped out, and next month will be the T-Man and Hyperstrike remastered. So I'm hoping for March will be Caw 3, and then April will be Fishtails 2, hopefully. So really excited about a story that my son has done, which shows like other stuff going on in the world of Green Zone. And I'm really excited to get to share that story. And I've got a really awesome story from the world of Caw that T.S. Luther is writing for me. We were talking out ideas and stuff, and he hit on an idea that's freaking amazing. And really delves deep into a character that we meet in Caw 3 and get to expound on their backstory and who they are. And I thought that would be a really neat add on for Fishtails Volume 2. And of course, there has to be a more expanded story of Alice Lost in Wonderland because we got a little introduction and a taste to the world in the first volume, but we need to get deep into it and figure out what's going on and motivations and all that good juicy stuff. So anyway, without too much ado, too late. Here we go. We will dive on in to inking on Caw Volume 3, Page 3. Let's see, turn the camera down a little bit. I've got all the lettering done, but I've turned it all off so that I can see what I'm doing because, of course, I want to ink behind everything because I want to have good images to work with later. I don't want to be trapped with only being able to use images that have the lettering on it because I didn't color behind it or I didn't ink behind it. That's a rookie mistake, and I'm not a rookie. And so we turn off the lettering so I can ink everything behind it. And then I'm going to flip the page as I always do because that will make little mistakes that I made in the pencils really jump out and make it easier for me to fix now. Thank you, Katie. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. That I have felt bad the last 2 weeks because I meant to come back 2 weeks ago, but I always got busy working in when I woke up in the morning, I'd like drink my coffee, watch the news, return some messages, and then I would just get back to work as normal. And then next thing you know, like it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, dang it, I forgot the show. So I figured hopefully moving it to the afternoons will make it easier for everybody to get to watch it. Well, not everybody. Some people are going to be overseas and it's going to be bad. Sarah's cooking supper, I'm sorry. There's no perfect time for everybody. But I wanted to make it easier for people to catch it after school and after work because I really, like I said, I want the School of Fish tier on the Patreon to be something people are invested in. And I want to make it as easy as possible for them to show up for that and be here with us and take part. So, yeah. I swear to you, I'm not about to cry, but man, my voice sure does sound like it. I need to take another drink. It has been dry around here. It's either raining or really dry. All right. Now, get in here to ye old car. And as always, for absolutely no understandable, discernible reason at all, we're going to start at the eyebrows first because, that's how we do. I don't know why I do that, but I do. Didn't used to do it, but I sure do it now. All the water is in Scotland. We have 3 times the average rainfall for December. Oh, bless your heart. Oh, and now I'm realizing I could have turned on the background music. If I was a smart man, I would have turned on the background music. But I ain't. It's raining right now for me. Well, that's because Kyron is summering in England right now. Or wintering or whatever it is. I don't know. Trying to be more of a smart aleck than my brain can handle right this second. I've been doing too much stuff lately. I tell you what, I was so proud of how well I did getting everything done on the Kickstarter and getting all of the orders figured out and the books in and got everything signed and bagged and boarded and got all the packages ready to go, all of that stuff, only to find out that I forgot to send out the surveys, as most of y'all know because y'all backed the book. So yeah, I forgot to send out the surveys because I was in such a hurry to make sure I got everything done quickly and done on time, and totally forgot the one important step of having addresses to send them to, like a knob. So, mistakes happen. You live and you learn. Uh, I was so mad at myself for about 10 minutes, and then I just could not quit laughing at what a stupid fish thing that was to do. But that's it. You get hyper focused on one thing and you miss something else. It's not the end of the world, but classic fish. But how I did it is something else that I tried to film the process as much as I could this time. so I can try and make some videos about how I did it. And one of the things I really want to talk about is the method I used for keeping stuff organized, because with my OCD, keeping organized with the shipments is the hardest part for me, and it's the part that stresses me out the most and makes me lose sleep. And like on the first issue of Caw, I didn't sleep for a week around the shipping time. Like it took me days to get it done because I was triple checking everything and quadruple checking everything. And it took forever for me to get stuff done. And this time I got everything packed and ready to go in one day. I would have had all the postage done too if I'd had the addresses, like an idiot. But you live and you learn. Not the end of the world. We're not going to beat ourselves up for that. Because gosh darn it, I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And gosh darn it, PJ likes me. And so, anywho, oh man, wrong button, dude. But I'm going to do a TikTok video about how I organized it and just how nicely that clicked in my OCD brain to have something to check it against. Because I like to make personalized thank you cards. Some people don't want to do it. Some people say it's too much hassle or whatever. Like for me, it took me under an hour to make a personalized thank you card, written out for everybody. Like that was not that big of a deal to do. And, maybe if I had 1,000 backers, that would be too hard. But at the level I'm at right now, it wasn't too hard to do. So, why not take that extra step and, show people how much I appreciate it. And having personalized thank you cards that had the backer's name on it and had the number of the backer on it that let me check it against my list as I went through it and been like, okay, backer 24 is PJ. The thank you card says backer number 24, it's PJ. And that just clicked in my brain like, okay, they match. We don't need to freak out for 3 days about this. And I could just put what was on the list in the box, put the little thank you card in there, put the little thank you sticker on, and wham bam, it's ready to go. And then when it came time to put the shipping labels on, each package had I used Post-it notes to keep up with everything. So it had the Post-it note with PJ's name on it, and then it had the little number down in the corner just in case the Post-it note fell off. I had his backer number on the box too. And that was just so easy to keep up with. Maybe it took me a second longer than somebody without ADHD or something. I don't know. But man, it worked so well for me. I loved it. And I am definitely going to be doing it from now on. And I like doing the thank you cards anyway. So for me, it's not an issue. I tell you, the more I've been looking into like using the Cricut and stuff to print my own stickers and die cut them out, like I can't beat the prices of getting stickers in bulk. Like I just ordered some new stickers for the Alice Lost in Wonderland story with Alice and Big Ten on them, just so I would have some to start putting in packages. And like ordering 200 of those stickers gets them down to like 11 cents a piece or something. It was a great deal. I can't really compete with that making my own stickers and have them be waterproof, dishwasher safe vinyl and, all of that other stuff. I just can't do that. But for doing some limited special edition stickers or doing some really big stickers and stuff, like I'm like, man, the possibilities are endless with what I could do with it for little fun one-offs or giveaways or something. PJ says you should have your students on School of Fish screen record them drawing. That way you can watch their process and give critiques on School of Fish. That's a good idea. I mean, and they could even film their drawing pad and their hands and stuff. Like if they didn't work digitally like I do, that's a good idea. That might have to be something that's only for the grown-up members because I don't want to be some weirdo having kids filming themselves, even if it is with the best of intentions. Man, things get out of hand to get taken the wrong way easily and quickly. But yeah, that's a good idea because there could be things that are popping up that you just wouldn't think to mention, or I might not think to ask about. That's a good idea, PJ. That's what PJ's around. That's why we keep PJ around. It's for the good ideas. I got plenty of the stupid ideas. They're all fine and dandy. And we got Kyron around for the stirring up the troubles and the whatnot. But when you need a good idea, or you need a really good idea, you need a PJ or a Katie or, a Sarah, if you will, something like that. Yeah, that's my thing. I see people making sticker businesses out of doing it themselves, and I've been crunching the numbers and stuff, and most of these people will show you the materials they're using to be helpful. And I'm like, man, that's just to get quality materials that are going to stand up well, it's expensive. And even at best, you're not getting the same quality as you would get from one of these big industrial, laser printers that are working on a big roll of vinyl going through and laser cutting. You're not going to get the same results. You can get something that holds up pretty well, but you're not going to get something that could go through the dishwasher a bunch of times, kind of hold up. And, and then there's the time that they don't want to count in making those things. Like the people that cut them out by hand, that's time consuming. That used to be my job at one of the sign shops I used to work at. He would occasionally do stickers too. And and he had a big laser printer that he would print them on, and it would be my job to die cut them all out by hand, and that stunk. And even at the $5.50 an hour I was getting paid at the time, that just didn't make financial sense in the long run for the amount of time it took me to cut them out. And I got good at it, but I think it's one of those things where if you have the luxury of it being a side business, or you have the luxury of, your husband or your wife has a good job and you don't have to worry about paying the bills with it per se, then you have more freedom to make a business out of that than somebody that, say, has to feed the kids and pay the mortgage and the car note. Like, I catch myself getting onto myself a lot about things that I take on, and or things that I do sometimes that don't pay off very well. And I got to remind myself that this isn't my hobby. This is my job. This is how I pay the house note that keeps a roof over everybody's head. And I can't be wasteful with that. Like if I had my way, I would be ordering, new stickers every day and just throwing them away like candy. And my wife gets on to me sometimes about how many stickers I do give away as it is, because, even at 10 to 15 cents a piece, depending on how many I ordered at the time, it still adds up when you're giving them away. Because I'm not even really selling them. I mean, occasionally I'll sell a couple at a show, but I'm really more just giving them away as bonuses with my comics. But then I'm also charging a premium price for my comics. And, like a full length standard size comic like Green Zone, I'm selling for $10 and not trying to stay at $5 so I can compete with Marvel kind of mindset, because I think that's silly. We're not selling the same thing, and we're not really selling to the same audience. The people that are buying my books are looking for independent comics to invest in. Most of the people, and not that some of those people don't also buy Spider-Man and Batman, because of course we do, but like, we're looking for independent comics to support. And most of the people that are buying Spider-Man and Batman and Superman and whatnot have no real interest in indie comics. They only want the characters that they grew up with for whatever reason. And some of those reasons are perfectly valid, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you like Superman because he reminds you of the good old days with your dad when you were little and sitting around in your underoos watching cartoons and eating Fruit Loops, that's awesome. That is 100% wonderful reason to love Superman and want to buy his books. That's also kind of exactly the reason that I like buying indie comics, because, I came of age in that day when indie comics were starting to get all kinds of attention, and a weird little black and white comic from Mirage Studios about some Ninja Turtles changed the world. And that's who I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be that guy. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those stances. But the people that want to buy my books, they're going to come looking for indie books. And they're going to be willing to pay more than the people that are buying 15 different Batman titles a month. Yeah, they're not going to want to pay $10 a piece, because that would break them. But when some indie comics come out, 2 issues a year sometimes, that isn't such a big price. Whoops. Your lines didn't connect there, crazy fishy. What were you thinking? Not while Sarah's watching. Oh, God. I hope she was stirring a pot and not looking at me make a mistake. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, my stars and garters. Just for the record, even though the new classes I'm hoping will be more all ages friendly, I ain't gonna be less weird. That's just gonna be a part of it. I'm gonna try hard to watch my mouth as much as I can, but also, just not for nothing, I have Tourette syndrome, so I can only do so much. The occasional weird phrase or untoward word will come out. That's just part of it. Uh, let's see. Little Sarah says, I worked stickers with my Cricut too. It's great for short runs, but I totally agree. It just can't compete with the big companies. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's a lot like the comic book that I printed here at the house. It looks great, feels great, and it will be wonderful for short runs, or like if you wanted to do something special and fancy, like you wanted to do custom cutout sections on the cover to, reveal the inside page, or, something weird like that. Like perfectly doable. But I've seen some folks that are using this same equipment to move over to doing all of their books, and I'm just like, man, I don't see how that works. I mean, the price of materials is relatively low. I'm starting to see some actual wear in the ink. Like I'm seeing that the ink levels actually starting to lower now. So I will have to, with all the printing I've been doing, I will have to refill the ink before long. And once I get through this first set of bottles, I'm going to take a good look at how many prints I've got out of that, because like the numbers they give you for prints are really misleading. Like, oh yeah, you can get, 2,000 prints out of this. No, you can't. Like, if you were doing office work, probably, maybe. But when you're doing full color artwork, where almost every page, like, hold on, here, let me maximize. Like, almost that entire page is covered up with color. Even this page is totally covered with color. This page is a bleed trim. The whole thing is solid ink, other than like the interiors of the balloons and a couple of spots on their teeth. Like that is like 100% coverage, just about. That is way more coverage. Even this page is more coverage than they're usually accounting for. So the nice thing about it is the printer keeps a record of how many pages it's printed. So including all my test prints and stuff that I wasn't keeping a record of before. So I can use that counter, and then when I get near the bottom of the ink bottles, that will really help me fine tune the costs involved. But my rough estimates on the cost right now, if they hold true, is like a 20-page comic comes up to about $1.50 a piece, and that's including buying the equipment and buying the paper and buying like replacement inks and stuff. Once I have to, like, after those, I can't remember how many issues, but after those issues are done, like the price drops significantly each, because like the printer's paid for. So it's not bad. It ain't bad, but it's time consuming, and you pay for the time too. Like, either you're paying in time that you're using to do it yourself, or you're paying time for somebody else to do it, or you're paying less per hour for somebody to do it in Korea and more in time for it to get shipped overseas to get a lower price. Like, somewhere along the line, you are paying for time, whether it's the time you're taking out of your day to do it or whatever. Time's getting paid for. Like, I've talked with a lot of people that, are operating at a level above me in comics that are all like, oh man, yeah, you've got to start going overseas. You've got to go overseas and get bigger print runs, and that's going to bring your price way down, and that will bring your profits up. And I totally will probably have to do that in the next year or two. I mean, absolutely, I probably will have to do that. But I mean, the more time, the time it takes for that shipment to go overseas, drive me up the wall. I am so impatient as it is, waiting for 3-day shipments from Amazon. I'm impatient waiting on the prints to come out of the printer, and this is one of the fastest printers I've ever owned. No, I know I'm just an impatient person because, ADD and all that stuff. But I don't know that I could survive waiting for my books to come from Korea. I mean, eventually I'm probably going to have to do it. But man, the stress of that wait, like, and I would feel horrible. I know, people probably wouldn't mind, because we've all backed books on Kickstarter that have taken, 6 or 8 months to get here. So, like, if I could pull the trigger and get a book here in 6 weeks, that probably, wouldn't be a deal breaker for anybody. But man, the thought of that weight just puts a knot in my stomach. Don't care for it. But also the problem is when you get to like that size, you can't really like pay for it up front out of pocket and then like, pay off that credit card when the Kickstarter money comes in, because you're talking bigger chunks of money than I'm going to be able to just like stick on my credit card. Like as it is now, if I needed to stick a $500 print run on my credit card now and pay that off with the Kickstarter money that comes in next month or something, let's say, I could do that. That's not the end of the world. But when you're talking, ordering 5,000 books or something, that no, I just ain't sticking that on my card. Oh yeah. Sarah says, I vaguely remember it when taking 2 weeks to order something from the catalog if you ordered by phone and 6 weeks if you sent in the order form. Oh my God. The first time I sent in an order form out of a comic book and I had to wait 6 to 8 weeks to get it in, I thought I was going to die of old age before it came in. Oh man. I should be a distribution business that you can send all the specifications and product to, and they ship and distribute it for you. Oh, should be a distribution business. Yes. I mean, somebody could do that and probably make a buck at it if they were more organized than me. I am not. Like when I made some videos about printing my own comics and stuff on the printer, mostly just to try it out and see how it went. I had a whole bunch of people hitting me up like, "Oh man, you fixing to do printing? Like, how much you gonna cost per issue?" And I'm like, "No, I am not fixing to do that. As a matter of fact, I am far too disorganized. You have no idea what a literal miracle it is that I have managed to learn how to keep myself focused enough to be able to make a living working from home and not totally be distracted by squirrel or, the laundry needs to be done or the dishes need to be done and whatnot. And on the negative side, the dishes and the laundry ain't getting done. Um, but like how much work it's taken to do that alone, much less like how hard I work behind the scenes just to keep all the stuff organized so that I can keep my book shipped out on time. It takes a lot for the way my brain works to stay that organized. I would never in a million years feel comfortable taking responsibility for other people's projects. Like uh Sarah and Lori, y'all do fulfillment for people, right? I I would love to be able to do it. I would love to be able to say yes, that is something I can do. But yeah, no. I just I'm not the guy. And I know I'm not the guy. So I'm not going to bother wasting anybody's time and money proving that I'm not the guy the hard way. I can just bow out gracefully and say, nope, not it. I applaud the people that can do it. I truly do. I I am always enamored with a real world friend of mine that is so organized, and she's ADD and kind of scatterbrained, but she is so organized. And for whatever reason, that just clicks for her. And where everybody else is like, oh, I'll get another organizer I will never use. Man, she's got charts and boards and highlighters and just keeps everybody on time, and all the meals are planned out for a month ahead of time, and kids chores and all of their activities. And man, I'm just constantly amazed at her organizational skills. Like, if she was not so busy all the time organizing her family, I would absolutely try and conscript her into my service, make her start organizing my business. Uh, it's a bit tricky for me, but I haven't made any mistakes yet, so I feel fairly confident about it these days. Y'all ship comics, books, games, DVDs, CDs, etc. Lori's been doing it longer than I have, and she's only made one or two mistakes. That's awesome. And that's one of the things that just Lori, and I'm a big fan of Lori. We all know that I'm in the fan club, and I got the Lori poster on the wall and got my Lori pennant hanging up and everything. I'm a huge Lori fan. I got the custom fitted cap and t-shirts and the whole 9 yards. Uh, Huge fan. And I was just really impressed with her professionalism and her organization and just everything that she brought to the table, and have continued to be nothing but impressed with her and her ilk, her entourage, if you will, her Katie's and her Sarah's and whatnot. All terribly impressive people. Terribly, terribly impressive. Big fans all around. That's why I got no problems when you say something like, "Hey, Vishy, you want to do a cover for old Surgeon?" Oh, I don't even ask when or how. I just say how high, because we doing this some gun. And Sarah said that doesn't make any sense in this context, and I said how high. I said we're not in the making sense business, Sarah. We're in the making covers business today. Come on. Thought you knew. Not to brag on myself like some kind of braggart, but I really am proud of the way that cover came out. I, I told Sarah it really was a dream of mine to like. I would be fascinated by those like Boris Vallejo paintings and stuff that they would have in like the '80s movie posters, like National Lampoon's Vacation and stuff, like all those painted movie posters. I would just sit there and stare at those things outside the movie, the whole time we were waiting to get tickets. Afterwards, when we were waiting on a ride, I would just be staring at them, amazed at how like somebody just picked up a paintbrush and painted this thing and got the likenesses so beautiful. And I thought they were painting them at that size, and I couldn't hardly see the brush strokes. And I was just amazed. I didn't realize they were painting them way bigger. But I wanted to do that so bad. Like that was the only thing that ever made me consider working in color as a kid. That and Norman Rockwell paintings, because like the realism and stuff that he got just blew me away. I was so floored and disappointed when I found out that like he set up people to model and like took pictures and things. Like I thought he just spit out this beautiful realism just out of his imagination, like I drew things. And to find out that like he set up models and took pictures and stuff, I felt at the time like that was such a cheat. Broke my heart. Now I realize it's a much smarter way to work, and references are a wonderful thing, and we should all be checking references more often. But, as a young man who thought you had to do it all the hard way, I was terribly heartbroken. I think that looks significantly enough like a tiny Cro Magnon in the shadows. And he is in the shadows of an explosion, so he's doesn't really have to be too super detailed. He's kind of small. But, your Uncle Fish is nothing if not one to get lost in the details that nobody's ever going to see. How are they going to know it's a Mr. Fish comic if there's not a whole bunch of needless details in places people can't see? That's the hallmark, if you will. I love that, if you will. That's just, oh, if you will, and what have you. Oh, God, I love it so much. I don't know why. I just love it so much. The old masters did everything with real models. Very few people can draw realism out of their heads. Exactly. I mean, and that's the thing. I didn't know that. I thought that they just all had to do it from their imaginations. And, you know, and when the only like real painters and stuff I got to see actually working were like Bob Ross and the old German dude before him and stuff, and they're just whipping this stuff out on the spot out of their imagination, and it looks relatively realistic. I just thought that was how it was done. I thought that's how everybody does it. I mean, they're painting and their stuff looks amazing and looks way better than anything I could paint. And so that must be how they all do it. And how little did I know the title of PJ's autobiography. I'm digging that. J Man, what is up, J Man? That's been a lot of our conversations about original movie poster artwork. Absolutely. I'm a nostalgic purist, and I know I probably absolutely not. I love the old stuff too. I mean, I dig most everything, but yeah, I dig the old stuff too, and I love the hand done feel of it. Like I watch some hand sign painters on Instagram. I could watch them all freaking day just painting these juicy, smooth lines by hand. And, like I used to have the steadiness to do some of that. I cannot do that now. Sarah says that's one of the things about art school that is thoroughly depressing. I've attended two, and no one has ever explained how to draw or taught techniques or anything. Katie says people like Bob Ross can only do that from an enormous amount of practice. Absolutely. And a bit of formula and a bit of cheats. Like the cheats he's using with the brush tricks and the palette knife and all that stuff give a very quick impression of realism, but it doesn't really look like a real specific tree. Like when you do a painting of a horse or a bird or something, your painting looks realistically like that animal, within whatever fraction of, acceptance you deem appropriate when you're painting it. But like, he's not painting a portrait of a tree. He's using a handful of brush tricks that make a very good looking tree in years of practice and skill at making it look good with those tricks. And, I don't mean tricks in a disrespectful manner. I don't mean it in a derogatory term. I just mean like there's lots of cool things you can do with brushes, like loading up one side of the brush with one color and one side with the other, and then you can just swoop with one little brush stroke and get cool little gradient flower petals and stuff like that. Like there's all kinds of cool tricks you can do with it. I'm not trying to disparage it. I'm just saying like using a fan brush and going chicka 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 with it is a trick that gives you really cool looking, pine trees. And the more experience and practice you have, the more realistic and cool you can make those look, and the less like it looks like you took a fan brush and went chicka chicka chicka. The sound effects are the important part here. I totally get like the amount of work you put into it, but like he's not replicating a specific mountain when he drags that palette knife down and lets the paint and the texture of the canvas speckle it with paint and it looks like a snow-capped mountain. He's not trying to replicate a specific snow-capped mountain and get it all right like you try and get when you do like a portrait of a horse, And but I mean, they're skillful, but they're different things. And like he would absolutely need a reference to make it look like a specific scene in a specific meadow with specific trees and a specific mountain. But when you've painted so many mountains and painted so many trees, you could just use the tricks and put them in place and know what looks good. Just like I can draw people all day long in comic books and make it look good, and that they're people, and that she's a girl and he's a boy and he's wearing a suit, but none of it is photorealistic. None of it looks really like this one person and how they really looked in a suit while they were really standing in the mall, because I'm not using references like that. If I did, I could make my artwork look more realistic. I almost said better, but I don't necessarily think it's better, but to make it look more realistic. But then The trap with that is I've seen so many people that use references too heavily, or people that just straight up trace on their comics. And I will be clear, I don't really begrudge anybody that, traces in their comics if it's their work. For instance, like I was reading one comic book from a young black creator about, his superhero who was living in the ghetto of the city that he lived in and everything. And it was very clear that he was tracing his artwork, but he would take his, like, he had a friend that was bowed up that made a good, superhero, and had a girlfriend of his that he would use as the superhero's girlfriend, and he would like pose them in his Nissan, take a picture of it, and then he would trace that in Clip Studio or whatever he traced it in, and draw over it. And he would get up very good looking comic books, and he could just take pictures of them from different angles in the car. He could get in the back seat and take pictures of them, and he would trace those images and have a very nice looking comic book. And I don't begrudge anybody when they're like taking their own source photos and stuff. If you're stealing art, stealing still images from pornos and stuff and copying, that's, come on. But like if you're taking your own pictures and stuff, go nuts. If that makes your process easier, have it. The problem is he was always trapped to what he could take a picture of. And when he wanted them doing something fantastic, it was impossible for him to get that. And that's the downside to that for me. Like them talking in a car, absolutely, he could get amazing. And the range of emotions and stuff he could get and cool costumes were only limited to his friend's acting range and the amount of money that he could afford to put into getting costumes for them so that he could trace it and draw it. When he had to draw something like over that, like, you putting on something fantastical that doesn't exist, it didn't look right. It never looked right. When he had to draw the hero flying, it absolutely always looked like a guy standing there with his arm up in the air. And like you can't put your finger on why it looks wrong, but it's just wrong. It doesn't matter that he's going this way. You can tell it's just a guy standing up with his hand in the air. But when you're getting it that realistic, because you're tracing it like line for line off of a photograph like he was doing, when the work's that realistic, you can tell when the weight isn't sitting right in a person. And like the way the weight is, the way your face is when you're standing upright is not the same as your face is when you're lying down, and like this cheek starts to sag and whatnot, and maybe your eyes wrinkle up because you're on the pillow, or how your face looks when you're hanging upside down tied to, a crane and you're about to be dipped in lava. Like, your fat all goes up, like you look different when you're hanging upside down. So like all of the weight and the stance and the body language is of a guy who's standing there with his fist in the air. Turning that sideways doesn't make him fly. It just reads like a guy standing weirdly. But it was cool. I mean, it did really good until you had to do something that you couldn't take a picture of. Like drawing somebody phasing through the wall. It was hard to get a good image of somebody, and that you could it left him in a corner. And I would hate to see people get there. It's better to me to learn to draw for yourself. And maybe we have to make shortcuts and caveats and it doesn't look as realistic. But because I can draw Kyle from my imagination, I can draw him doing anything I want him doing. And in any situation, in any way, shape, or form. And I'm not limited by trying to find the bird barbarian that lives down the street with the big, massive hands the size of TV sets and asking him if he'll pose for a picture for me. Let's see. I think I might have missed a comment. Let me see. Oh, no, I did. Uh, I'm going to get a printer like yours, so I'll be printing the original poster artwork for some of my Blu-rays. I can't stand some of the bad Photoshop covers. Oh, absolutely, man. I don't blame you. I mean, and if you're just doing like Blu-ray covers and stuff, you could get one that prints smaller than mine for a lot less money. There's another version of this one. This is the 8550. I think like the 8500 just does like up to legal size paper, but that would probably be plenty for what you need to do, and it was a good chunk cheaper. Did you send out the digital rewards for the Caw Fishtails Team Man campaign yet? No, I did not. I'm hoping to send those out tomorrow. I was waiting until I wanted to get everything shipped out, and but because of the surveys, I've got like 7 packages there left that I need addresses for, and I have one over there that I still need to draw a sketch cover for. But yeah, I'm hoping, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, I'm hoping to get the digital files sent out tomorrow morning. That's what I'm hoping for. If you have any copies of that cool ass poster, I'll sell a kidney or something. I totally regret not getting that, but I was too nervous to spend. Well, the problem is you got the digital rewards. You didn't get any books shipped to you, right? Throw one in there for you. I'll get that money from the kidney sale, probably. My kidneys are one part of me that's still healthy, I think. Oh, man. Man, don't even ask about my liver. Oh, gosh. That's part of the reason I'm hoping to get off these meds. Anyway, if seriously though, if you want a copy of the poster, message me and I'll see what the shipping is on it, and I'll get you hooked up. I don't mind at all. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I need to ship out Tony's book too. I almost forgot about that because Tony missed the Kickstarter, but he sent me the money and I forgot because he's not on the same list. He's not on Kickstarter when I'm triple checking everything, so I need to get his bagged up and ready to go as well. I need to do that before I forget about it. And we've passed the hour mark anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there so I'm not still going when my wife gets home from work, so I can spend some time with her. And I'm going to make a note right this second before I forget about it, that I will immediately probably turn around and forget. Tony's books. All right. Hopefully, I won't forget that. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. J-Man, it was absolutely wonderful to have you on the show. I'm glad for everybody that could pop in and hang out tonight. I hope y'all like some of the planned changes for the School of Fish show. I'm hoping to really dive into some how to do stuff. And also, I'm hoping that I can do some walkthroughs, even if it's just in here, do some walkthroughs of how to use specific tools and then be able to cut those down to clips that I can put in like a playlist on my Patreon that anybody can go peruse and walk you through like how to use select color gamut to get the most out of your flats, or like how to set up your toolbar at the top of your screen and put custom tools in there, how to customize your selection toolbar, tips and tricks for lettering, things like that, how to set up a page to whatever standards you need it to be and set up the cut line and the safety zone and all that stuff, how to set up multiple page files, like do real walkthroughs on how to do that I can clip down, hopefully without a whole bunch of distractions during it, but we'll see. But hopefully I'll be able to get some stuff that I can cut down and have like instructional chunks that people can go back and reference, because being here while I'm talking about it is one thing, but then when you go to try and use the flats, 2 months from now, like, what did he say? How did he? I don't remember. Having it in a playlist, I think, would be really awesome. So that's something I'm going to try and do. Sarah says, yeah, I wanted to get to physical so bad, but I'm feeling a little financially unstable. as I'm sure everyone can sympathize with. Absolutely. I don't want to spend too much on anyone's campaign, despite wanting one of everything from everyone. Absolutely. I just had a powerful conversation the yesterday and realized I'm actually going to up my budget for what I'm spending on Kickstarter just so I can invest in more lives, because it was really brought to my attention that backing these Kickstarters isn't isn't so much a selfish thing for me. It's not, ooh, I get another comic book that I can read. Because honestly, I've told J Man 100 times, I back them and forget them. Because I've had so many campaigns that took 6 months or 8 months or 2 years to fulfill, or just never fulfilled at all, that I quit worrying about it. I back your book. If it looks cool, I back it, and then I forget about it. If I get a book in the mail or I get a book in my, email account, awesome. It's a wonderful surprise. Makes it a wonderful day to suddenly get packages in the mail that are an absolute surprise. I got 3 books the other day, completely forgot I ever backed them. And I like that. It's fun. So I'm not doing it from like a selfish point of view per se, but I realized in the conversation we were having that every book I back is helping some other creator accomplish his dream and learn and grow and get better at his craft. But not just him. Like, not just Sarah and Lori and John are being blessed because, the Surgeon is getting backed on Kickstarter right now, which if you haven't backed the Surgeon, you absolutely need to go on Kickstarter and back the Surgeon right now. It is awesome. And you can get a really amazing cover from your Uncle Fish that is a Big Trouble in Little China homage that's freaking gorgeous. I got it. You should too. But not only am I helping them, but like all of the artists that work on the book are getting paid. The colorist is getting paid. The letterers, the editors, like all of these people are getting paid off of these investments in Kickstarter. All of these people are being blessed by a $10, $20, $30, investment in a Kickstarter. And I was like, you know what? I can do more for that. I don't need more comic books. I don't need more stack of books, that I struggle to read as it is. I've got 2 short boxes now of books that I still need to read that I haven't gotten to. I don't need more for that, but the chance to be able to invest in more creators that's what I'm all about. And like I said before, like that's the real motivation between the New School of Fish tier on Patreon and helping people be able to work through their ideas and actually try and help people make it a reality, help push them from a script to pencils to inks to letters and colors and all that stuff. And having the opportunity that, like, if you want it published, I will publish it in Fish Tales. Like, if it's good enough book and good enough story and not like super nasty or vulgar or something, it will absolutely get published in the pages of Fish Tales. And, and the one thing that always bothered me is like, I had that opportunity in the past to like do black and white stories and get them published in books that were selling for almost nothing. But like, if I wanted to get copies myself that I could like take to a show and sell or something, because it was the first thing I'd ever done a story in, I had to buy out of the stockpile that the creator running the anthology had left. And that meant that we had to pay for the printing, the shipping to his house, him going through everything, his markup, and then shipping it to me. There was nothing left for there to be a profit made. And for me, there was no incentive for me to pay more than I could sell the book for to get copies to take to a show. That just didn't make any sense. And I was like, I'm not going to lose much by you being able to print up copies yourself, by you being able to order directly from Kablam, not have to worry about me, not pay a referral fee or a markup or a royalty or anything. You can go straight to them. If your story shows up in the pages of Fishtails, I will give you access to printing these up at cost from Kablam. You can order 1, 20, 200, 2,000, whatever you want. What's the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario, you go out and sell 2,000 copies of an issue of Fishtails. You make a good bit of money, and that gets 2,000 more eyes on this project, which brings more people around reading the books, brings more people around seeing everybody involved's artwork, more people coming to join up and learn how to make their own stories come true. That's a good thing. Like, if I miss out on a hair of profit to be able to be a blessing like that to somebody else, no problem, man. Count me in. I'm there. And on that, I'm going to say peace out. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I will be back Thursday, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. God forbid any tragedies or anything. It's been a heck of a year. Anyway, have a great week. I will see you next time. Some of you I will probably see between now and then. If you're feeling froggy, tune in tomorrow night, same time, on the Agents of Geekdom Network on YouTube and Facebook and every which way, and hang out with us for 5-Star Fridays. I believe somebody special might be there, and we might have us a good old time talk about the surgeon. So anyway, peace out, and I'll see some of y'all tomorrow. I'll see the rest of y'all next week.
Hello, everybody. It is your Uncle Fish back again for School Fish Art Stream. J-Man wants a Gatling gun on the end of his tail. Oh,